Hi, this is Jeff Haynes with My2CommonSense. I just came off of a day of a virus or food poisoning or something, so I feel pretty horrible. I went on to Facebook today, and a friend of mine who has been my friend for over 50 years posted this ridiculous article that claimed to be some kind of a history article on Hiroshima and what President Obama did and how evil we were for dropping the bomb and all these stupid reasons. I'm going to post a link to it down below. If you can stand reading it, go ahead. It's pretty ludicrous and idiotic. But he posted this article, and again, I don't want to alienate him. He's been my friend for half a century, but he really is wrong on this, and anyone who believes the crap in this article is wrong. So I wrote a response, I posted on Facebook, and I'm still so irritated over it that somebody could write trash like this, and that 44% of the American people surveyed believe that we shouldn't have dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. 44% of idiots that know nothing about history and nothing about reality. So I just wanted to make this fast video, even though I'm sicker than, HE double toothpicks. I wanted to just read the post that I put on Facebook, and I might add some little commentary, because like everything else, after you write something, it's like, oh, I should have said this, oh, I should have said this. So maybe I'll just say that while I'm doing it, okay? I have my dollar store glasses here and my paper towel in case I throw up from what I've been going through the last day. And I just want to read this and give everyone who watches my channel a dose of historical reality, because this is reality. This is what really happened. This article is 100% bullshit. This article, referring to the article that my friend posted, and not historically accurate at all. Japan was not on the verge of surrender. You will not find any reliable historian that will teach that. Their plan was to dig in the homeland and the surrounding islands and fight to the last man, woman, and child. Conservative estimates were that this would result in 1 million, that's 1 million American deaths. Not just casualties, deaths. And that's the low end, plus the deaths of millions of Japanese. It amazes me and pisses me off. I'll say that again, pisses me off that these moronic armchair leftists write this crap and people believe it. Imagine being an American soldier just surviving the war in Germany and expecting to be shipped to Japan, where in all odds you're going to die. I added that, in all odds you're going to die. That's one of the things I want to add. Where am I at? Do you think any of those war-torn soldiers disagreed with the bombing? That's one thing that I can't stand about the way America fights wars ever since Korea, or even more since Vietnam, that we send our guys out there to die, and we're more worried about hurting the enemy and rules of engagement than we are about bringing our boys back alive. Thank God Truman didn't think that way. That was more things I just added in. Plus, Japan was just weeks away from testing new technologies to attack our mainland and was planning an attack on our west coast, more specifically San Francisco. We had spent weeks bombing Tokyo with conventional bombing. They had no plans to surrender. We had leveled Tokyo. You ever see pictures of Berlin towards the end of World War II? How we leveled Berlin? We were doing the same thing to Tokyo. Oh my gosh, all those civilian casualties. You know what? When you're at war with the country. You're just not at war with the country's military. Your goal is to break as many things as you can and kill as many people as you can and bring your boys back alive, which is something that our military doesn't even consider anymore. None, nada, no plans to surrender. Testing our, and this is another thing they said, well, we should have tested it on an uninhabited island. Testing our bomb on uninhabited islands is brain dead and stupid. We had one bomb. One. But you can say we had two. I'll get to that in a minute. To test it and then bluff that we had more would have been idiotic. We demanded complete and total unconditional surrender, which both their so-called deistic, godlike emperor and their military refused. After the first bomb, they still refused to surrender. So we drop an atomic bomb on one of their cities and say, this is the ability we have now, and they still refuse to surrender. The reason I said we had one bomb is because the second one was very doubtful it would work, and it was a miracle that it did. They didn't think that, this wasn't like this wasn't some technology that we had perfected. We were flying by the skin of our teeth, and we weren't sure the second bomb was going to work because it was different than the first bomb. So as far as Truman knows, we had one shot at this. One bomb. Ugh. Can't stand the stupidity of people. I just can't. After the first bomb, they still refused to surrender. The reason I say, okay, blah, 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 blah. We were more than 6 to 7 weeks away from a third bomb. If we would have dropped that second bomb and it didn't work, or, and if they still refused to surrender, we were still 6 or 7 weeks away from developing a third bomb, or putting a third bomb together. But the bluff was all that we had. Could you imagine having to go to Japan and fighting them island by island like we had to in the Pacific? We sacrificed thousands of men for these little inconsequential islands. And don't even get me started. It's just so pisses me off so bad. We were then 6 or 7 weeks on the third bomb, but we had the bluff. Okay. No, it was 100%, not 99, not 99.9. It was 100% right to drop that bomb on a savage people that got exactly what they deserved. 80 million people died in World War II. And I'm not sure that even includes like the death camp people and stuff. It may have been more, but at least 80 million people died in World War II. 80 million. That's a million with an M. Million. Imagine that. 80 million people. And the Japanese were responsible for the majority of that number. Just a little thing. My dad was stationed in the Aleutian Islands during World War II. And if you don't know where that is, look at a map. It's like Japan, Aleutian Islands. And if they wouldn't have dropped that bomb, my dad would have been fighting the Japanese and he probably would have died. And since I was born in 1957, it would have been like, idiots, wake up. The Japanese invaded China in 1931 and committed atrocities that made the German death camps look like resorts. If you ever want to deal with reality, I know a lot of people out there don't want to deal with reality, but if you ever want to deal with reality, Google Unit 731. Maybe I should do a video on Unit 731, what these bastards actually did to the Chinese and other people, how they experiment on them and cut them open with no anesthesia and dissected them with no anesthesia and tortured them and the crap that they did to these people. And then we're supposed to feel sorry that we defended ourselves and dropped a bomb on them and see the real enemy we were dealing with. One of their favorite pastimes in occupied villages in China and the Philippines was to take little boys, because little boys grew up into be men and they would be able to fight in the future, to take little boys and play catch with them using their bayonets. So take a little 3-year-old boy and toss him to the other guy, and the other guy would skewer him with the bayonet. These are the people that we're talking about. Want some real reality? Google Bataan Death March. Ugh. Our idiot, may I say your idiot president, because he's not my president, said that it was evil. It was evil to drop the bomb on them. Do you know what was evil, moron? Pearl Harbor and the above mentioned atrocities. That was evil. An unprovoked attack that killed over 1,000 Americans. That was evil. Could you imagine if this happened today? If we had the leadership today, or back then that we had today, we'd all be doing Zig Heils now to the new Fuhrer, or we'd all be living under occupation from Japan. Well, there's another thing I just added in. He was actually there putting wreaths on World War II Japanese unknown soldiers' graves. I don't know if it's unknown soldiers or unknown soldier, but he was there putting a wreath on their graves. Those same soldiers that killed our men. He's an idiot, he's a moron, and he's a traitor to this country. Harry Truman was 100% right in what he did. They started the war and we finished it. Screw them. I'm an American and this is the greatest country in the history of the world. Wake up. Our freedoms are being taken away from us and people can write these stupid articles and people that should know better believe them. This is Jeff Haynes with My2CommonSense. Look down below for my Facebook and my Twitter and the link to this disgusting, revolting article. You'll find it down there. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'm sorry that I'm so mad. I'll be nice and jolly the next time.